long time.
It has been a damn long time. Welcome back. I'm still Andy.
I'm still Katie.
That hasn't changed. And we're just trying to get back into doing channel-related things. Been gone for a while, mostly due to work reasons for me, as I now run a independent video game store.
And he's also the main editor.
Yes, also that. Also Wick.
Technology is out of my grasp at this point, and I really need to sit down and learn how to do the video editing. But
I've slowly been showing her. So, and I mean, I had to teach myself as well. So she'll learn on the fly, and then we'll be doing more things. And there's more to come about the channel as well in terms of expanding.
Lots of changes coming up.
Some stuff. So.
Exciting stuff.
Indeed. But on to the meat of what today is about, as you've read on the title. This is where we predict who is getting into the Video Game Hall of Fame. We did this a couple years ago.
Hall of Fame. I think we did this last time.
Yeah, we probably did. We'll have to go back and watch the video. It's the Strong Museum's World Video Game Hall of Fame. We did this 2 years ago, and we were pretty well, more or less, on the money.
We kind of nailed it.
Yeah. So we want to come back and do it this year. Now, this year is a much more divisive field.
Tough.
And we're going to probably disagree a little bit on a couple of them. But we're just going to launch right into it. A couple of ground rules about how we did our lists. Basically, we're each picking 4. On the assumption that 4 will get in. That seems to be the pattern. There's no actual stated number, but it seems to be that consistently.
Then I thought we were picking 6.
Well, no, I was getting to that, actually. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
So we're picking 4 that we think actually will get in as our main 4 choices. However, as Katie was saying, we're actually picking 6 total because we're picking 2 more on top of that under the assumption that either A, they might pick more than 4, or B, what we're calling, and Katie termed this term.
Dark horses.
Yeah, for that, dark horse candidates who maybe they'll surprise us, we see a strong argument for them, and maybe they'll get in.
Yeah.
And real quick...
Aiko!
I'm going to have to go get a bag away from Aiko. Okay, so I am pretty strong on my 4 plus 2. Katie, how are you? You ready?
I have 3 solids.
Okay.
And I have 3 maybes, and I'm just going to wing it on which one is my 4 of my top 4.
Okay.
Number 4 of my top 4.
Do you want to start, or should I?
I can start.
Okay.
All right, so... Well, first let's go over what the nominees are.
That'd be good. We should give you all 12 nominees, so you have a
there are 12 games nominated this year. Minecraft, John Madden Football, Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII, finally, Asteroids, Call of Duty, Dance Dance Revolution, Half-Life, King's Quest, Metroid, Miss Pac-Man, and Space War, which we'll talk about a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just telling him I didn't know what that was until I saw it on the nominees list.
A lot of people don't.
And I feel like this is one of the reasons this is so hard to pick is this is a really strong class this year of nominees.
It is. I think there's a couple of them that are the wrong game chosen.
Aiko is being a little shit right now.
Hey, wouldn't have it any other way. I will say that 2 of them specifically, I think we both wrote out because we think it's the wrong game in this series. Why they wouldn't get in. Half-Life, because Half-Life 2 is the one that should be picked.
What was the other one we...
Call of Duty. The first Call of Duty really
I have no
shouldn't be
opinion on Call of Duty at all.
It should be Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. That's the one that needs to get in. Because, and just a little bit of background, they don't necessarily pick a whole series. They're picking games in a series. So it's possible more than one game in a series will eventually get in. So,
I'm going to come back later and throw these words in Andy's face because
I know
something that happened in the last fall.
It did, and I was hoping for that. We'll talk about it when the number 7 comes up.
It's going to come up.
It's going to come up. I have my beer ready. So, as Katie said, she's going first.
So I'll go first because I have one, absolute, the first absolute for me this year is Tomb Raider. It's been nominated, I think, 3 times already and hasn't been put in, so it's one of the most nominated games that hasn't been put in the museum just yet. I think 2 years ago, it was also nominated, and I said that I didn't think it was time for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely time for Tomb Raider to make it in at this point.
Yep.
You can't overstate the importance of that game, especially as a female gamer. I hate to bring that up, but Lara Croft is just... the icon.
She is one of the most recognizable gaming characters. Yeah. Period. She's easily at the top.
I remember when the original Tomb Raider came out, which is the one that's nominated, and that was just such a game changer for me. not just her as a main character, but also the game was so huge. Like, I don't think I'd ever played anything quite like that up to that point.
And I'll go ahead and throw this out there. It's on my list too.
Okay.
So we're in agreement on this. Both of us are putting Tomb Raider in. And I thought about some of these things as well. There was never really a 3D platformer like Tomb Raider before Tomb Raider. Yes, there were other 3D platformers, and good ones at that. But they were more cartoony. They were more,
It seemed, way more adult, way more complex than anything I'd played
Yes,
up to
absolutely.
that point.
And what it opened up the doors that, basically you're right, to use the term game changer, it literally did.
For adventure
Change everything,
games,
Yeah.
for sure. A lot of the games that we see now probably got their inspiration from that original game.
Because I'm such a fan of Uncharted.
Uncharted, yeah.
And Uncharted doesn't exist without Tomb Raider. Interestingly enough, the new Tomb Raider games, starting over with just plain Tomb Raider, don't exist without Uncharted. It's an interesting.
Which I haven't played any of the most recent games since
Which you should.
I guess they rebooted it.
Yeah.
You would say.
And they're awesome.
I haven't played any yet, and I really need to. And I just love Lara Croft so much.
Oh yeah.
Like,
definitely.
I know, we were having a conversation about how she might have been seen as the sexy heroine or kind of gimmicky at the time. I didn't see her that way. I don't.
Honestly, from the first game, she was wearing a tank top and shorts. She's also running around out in the middle of a jungle.
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't think she's wearing jeans and a hoodie.
She's a genuine badass.
Yeah.
They might have tried to play up the sexiness in advertisements and stuff, but I never felt like it was super over the top to the point that it I'd be rolling my eyes at it or whatever.
And I think it was hard to do that in the Polygon era anyway.
Yeah.
Really,
she
you
just
couldn't.
had these little points
Polygonal badonkadonks
that came out. And no ass, really.
No. She just had a flat polygonal ass.
Also, I wanted to mention the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the newest one is...
The new reboot of the Tomb Raider movie.
Yeah.
So, this is... There's another reason it would be a good time to induct it into the
absolutely.
Video Game Hall of Fame.
And a couple of final things I wanted to talk about with Tomb Raider. One, I love the box, because it was that weird pyramid-shaped box for the PC game. And that leads into my second point. Tomb Raider was first. I'm just going to pause. If you just hear a little thing, Ico's just playing with his toy. He hasn't played with this for 7 fucking months. And now that we're doing this, he's just like, oh, hey, this is fun. He's having a blast. I'm glad. This is actually awesome. It's good exercise for him. But anyway, the last thing I was going to say is that Tomb Raider was initially a PC game. But it ported over so naturally to consoles. I
did not know that, actually.
Yeah, that's initially.
That was a PC game. Okay.
As far as I know, yeah, because it had because remember that pyramid box?
Yeah.
That was the PC version.
Yeah.
So after that, it ported over quickly to PlayStation and Sega Saturn. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe they all came out at the same time. But I was pretty sure the PC was first. But it ported over to PS1 and Saturn. And shortly thereafter became console just dominant. From there on, it was a console game. And that's really the only time, assuming I'm correct on this, which I believe I am, that a PC game has truly done that. It started on PC, and then suddenly systems had the chops to do it, and it was just more natural to play it with a controller. And that makes sense to me that it always would be. But I think, we're both in agreement. Tomb Raider is...
Also had some of the best tutorial levels in any game ever. I think in Tomb Raider, it was 2 or 3, all I did really was play the tutorial over and over again and lock her creepy butler in the freezer. That was the most fun part
if
for
you're
me.
a creepy butler...
Jeeves, I think.
Get your ass away from the freezer if Katie's in town.
Yeah. It was creepy.
I'm going to step in with one of my mains, and this is one that I think we don't agree on. I think Metroid is absolutely going to get in.
It's in my 6, but not one of my...
Yeah.
It would be in my bottom 2, one of my dark horses, I think, that's going to get in.
And for me, I've thought about this, why Metroid would. There wasn't, again, really a game quite like Metroid before Metroid, in the terms of a consistent world you could always explore. You could go to anywhere in that world, but you had to unlock abilities and weapons and not quite upgrades, but essentially upgrades to open new areas in that world. And I think that's really important. It was also important at the time that you could go vertically, horizontally. It was just all one big, massive space to explore. It's easy to forget that nothing quite like that really existed prior to it. Nothing with that graphical level, certainly. I think you might have seen some Atari games try to do it.
I've never played it, so I can't offer anything here.
It could be obtuse at times. It didn't always give you any idea of where you should proceed, and it definitely needed a fucking map and a save system.
I think I did try playing it, and I was terrible at it, and that's what it was.
Could be it. Again, Samus is one of the most enduring characters in video game history. There's a lot of fiction and story to Metroid. Even in that first game, you could feel a story there. It didn't really explain it, but it was there, that sense of... There was a narrative there that you wanted to know more about. In fact, the thing with Metroid is that whole, like, adventure slash exploration slash, hey, I have a new thing, I can unlock new areas plan. I mean, it spawned... It lent its name to half the title for those games, which are Metroidvanias, which are obviously Metroid and Castlevania. And even Castlevania, it tried it with Simon's Quest. It didn't really get there yet until, really, I'd say Symphony of the Night. So, finally, Metroid is one of the most famous codes in history. Of course, we're not talking up, down, down, left, right, B, a start, or anything like that. We're talking an actual password code. Justin Bailey, whoever the hell you are, wherever the hell that came from, plus a series of numbers. I don't think you even know about this.
I have no idea what you're
There
talking
was
about right now.
a code, of course, that's pretty famous among gamers because it was Justin or Justine Bailey, I forget what it was, and then a series of numbers at the bottom, which since then I have forgotten, but I used to have it. I probably would still type it in just by rote memory. That started you with a bunch of cool weapons, and Samus was in a different outfit. So, kind of a cool thing. There's a lot of lore there. Plus, it's Metroid. I mean, it's one of the most recognizable franchises. I feel like it's got to get in. So, that's my vote for Metroid.
Okay.
So, your turn.
Like I said, one of my two dark horses. I don't. But I also know nothing about Metroid, so I can't really offer my opinion on that. So, another one of my top three, which I can shorten this a little bit because we talked about it in the last video. John Madden Football is in my top three definites for this year. I don't know.
Honestly, it was my fourth one. When I decided today to round out, John Madden became my fourth entry.
And this will help us shorten the video a little bit because if you go back and watch, it was also a nominee in 2016 and we talked a lot. It was one of our definites back then, so...
Yeah.
Well, it was one of my definites. I think you weren't sure
I think it was on the fence.
But we talked a lot about it, so
Yeah.
if you want to go back to that video and see our observations on John Madden Football still stand today. Now it's obviously 2 years later. I think it's well overdue to be put in the museum. So
Madden is iconic. It's really the sports game. I mean, to shorten the argument just for the consistency of this video, it's the sports game. We don't have sports games today the way they are without Madden. And Madden reaches a whole completely different segment of the gaming population than any other game. It's just, and it's gone generally from strength to strength. So I think it's overdue. I think it's one of those inevitables, but I think this is Madden's year.
I think it's going to get in this year. I feel like it has to. That's why I put it in my top three.
Yeah. That one, that was my fourth choice today when I rounded them out.
Okay.
So I think we have one other in common. Yeah, the number 7.
Okay, so I think I'm going to put that in my top 4. I think that's
Okay.
the one that, one of my 3 dark horses that I think I'm going to slide into my top 4. And actually, if you can hear the music that's going on in the background, this is Final Fantasy IX right now.
We thought it made a
Andy,
nice background
Andy is
music, but didn't
playing
hear it.
that right now. That's one of my top 3 favorite games of
Yeah.
all time. But Final Fantasy VII, which also give you a reason to go back and watch the video from 2016.
I'm going to drink while she says this.
That year, Final Fantasy was nominated, and it was actually, we had it on our definite to get in list, except I added a little caveat to that. I said that I didn't think that Final Fantasy necessarily deserved to be in unless it was a representation of the entire series. I thought Final Fantasy VII is the most iconic game, and I said in the video, I would rather see Final Fantasy VII get in than Final Fantasy. But Andy argued at that point.
I did, and
that you can't have Final Fantasy VII in without Final Fantasy being in there.
And I still feel that way, but since
I am super excited about 7 being nominated this year, and I think it absolutely deserves to be in.
And I think now that we know how the Strong Museum is going to roll on it, we know that they're just going to pick random game or whatever games get nominated. But so that's how
Final
it's going.
Fantasy didn't get in that year.
No,
Final
Fantasy's not in.
It's not in.
In fact,
okay.
I don't think we have a single RPG in there.
I don't think so.
Nothing really that big.
But yeah, we put it on our definite list back in 2016.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy actually did not end up making it in. Neither did John Madden Football, which we
we
just
were
talked
about too. So
but-
maybe we didn't kill it as much as we remembered.
No, we did. I've gone back and watched that video many times.
Okay.
We were pretty good on that. Like, yeah, those were our 2 big misses. The rest of them we were pretty good on.
Fair enough. I have to go watch
So.
it. But Final Fantasy VII, it endures, honestly. It opened up RPGs to the greater gaming audience. Prior to 7, it really brought RPGs mainstream. And a lot of people were just getting into gaming at the time. It's hard for us to remember that because, of course, we go all the way back to like Atari and Coleco and early arcades.
Well, yeah, I think PS1. I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
NES to me is the greatest video game system of all time. That was the first truly revolutionary system in my mind. PS1 is number 2 for me. Like that just took gaming to a whole new level.
It changed
and of course,
things up.
Final Fantasy VII was a PS1
Definitely.
game.
And the story, people to this day, the characters resonate. I mean, there are people who are still to this day, spoiler alert, Aeris dies, who are trying to get Aeris back to life in-game, a legitimate way in-game. There is no way, but people are still trying. And by the way, yes, I said Aeris, not Aerith. It was Aeris the first time around. I don't care what retcon or retranslation or proper translation corrections have been done.
I have no strong feelings about this.
Her name is Aeris, not Aerith with a lisp.
You know,
hey, Aerith, I'm Cloud,
it's
not
funny
Vax.
that I was thinking about it
both?
earlier, something that I wanted to mention. I remember, what year did that come out? 97,
90,
right?
yes, fall of 97.
Yep. I actually remember going to see a movie that year, and this was my first exposure to it.
Yeah.
They showed a trailer for Final Fantasy VII in front of the movie, and I was like, what is this? This looks amazing. It was also the first JRPG I've ever played. And I remember
And I think that's true for a lot of
when it came
people.
out, I had rented the game. I started playing it, I think about 11 o'clock that night. 6:30 in the morning, I finally realized that I was still up, had gotten so sucked into it. I was not expecting that at all, because I'd never played anything like that before.
And there I was, like 5th floor Bennett Tower at WVU, and I went and I got it, and we all had a save file. All my friends on the floor in the dorm, we each had our own save file. We were all playing it, and it was kind of awesome. Like, the moment Sephiroth killed Aeris, my entire dorm floor knew about it. They knew it because I was very vocal in my reaction. But for everything 7 has done and endured, and of course, what is the one game that people have consistently from the series asked to have remade? 7, which in theory is somewhere in the limbo of development now. We at least announced, obviously we know. So, yeah, I think 7...
Which is one of the most exciting moments in gaming ever, I think, is watching that E3 press conference and seeing the trailer. Although I have some opinions people might not agree with. I don't think it's going to live up to... I think there's such a nostalgia factor for that game. People really want to play the old game with better graphics. And I think they're going to change way too much, and it's going to be a big disappointment.
And that could be a problem.
I'm kind of scared of that.
Be careful what you ask for. That is...
Be careful what you wish for. You
I'm worried if they change the combat system that it's going to lose its luster.
Because I haven't gotten into any of the recent Final Fantasies, so if they make the remake like that, I
may not dig it at all. And that could be true for a lot. So.
I would rather go back and play the original.
Yeah, but that's off topic. But, I mean, that again, the original holds up.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So, let me go through real quick here. So, that's actually my 4 mains covered. That's Metroid, Tomb Raider, Madden, and Final Fantasy VII. Right now, you've got Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII, which is my number 4.
Yeah.
John Madden Football, Tomb Raider.
So, now your 4th main.
My 4th main for this year is Minecraft. I am not personally really invested in Minecraft. I have had a lot of fun playing it. I don't really understand it at the level some people do, especially children. Like that's the big thing for me is seeing how deep
really
into it kids get. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not creative enough to do that. I do enjoy. It's a really relaxing game to play.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to chill out and turn your brain off,
True.
I'll start playing Minecraft, and I love the sound of the rain on the roof, that.
Yeah.
But
for me, Minecraft is one of my dark horses, and the reason being, Minecraft is going to get in eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
And I just feel like the other 4 are getting in over Minecraft.
That is the question for me. Yeah. I am saying that this is Minecraft's year because I think, like Tomb Raider, it's been nominated. I want to say it's been nominated 3 times. I'll have to double check on that, and has not made it in yet. It's going to, like Andy said, it's going to get in eventually. I just feel like this is the year for Minecraft as well.
And there's all the arguments ever for Minecraft. I don't think anybody's going to argue against Minecraft ever getting in. I think it's just one of those things where the Starring Museum might look at it as, okay, if we're only picking 4, Minecraft's going to get in, but does it get in over the other 4 I picked? That's where I feel like they're going to be.
I don't know. I think because people have been nominating, I think they might have gotten to the point now where and obviously that would be a big draw.
Where they pick 5.
Imagine the interactive exhibit you could have with Minecraft.
Yeah.
That would be have the blocks and stuff. That would be really cool. That would get kids in there.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the beauty of Minecraft is it's as deep as you want it to be. when you come down to it, that's what it is.
I have many
whatever
adult.
depth you want
I
out of
have many
Minecraft, you
adult
get.
friends who used to have Minecraft nights where they would get together and have little LAN parties. And I wasn't a Minecraft player, so I had to just like sit there while they had all of their fun building.
Yeah, and of course the merchandising alongside it. Even my store, I have a diamond pickaxe up on the wall. Just
I
for
really
decoration.
love the Lego sets.
Yeah,
Like,
although and that was the most natural thing ever.
yeah.
For Lego. In fact, the first Minecraft Lego set was one of the Kusu sets. They used to call it Kusu before they called it Lego Ideas or Lego whatever, that people would try to vote sets in.
Oh.
And Minecraft was one of the first ones, and then somebody realized, wait, time out. Why are we not making
Also,
Minecraft
I think the
Legos?
Enderman is like the cutest thing in the world. I desperately
Send
want
your plush Enderman,
I
too.
desperately want an Enderman plushie, and I haven't been able to find one.
That is our search. So my next, we've covered, because Metroid's one of your dark horses, so this would be, I guess...
Now we're
Yeah,
into.
our last dark horse were each, right? Maybe, or...
Well, I haven't revealed my 2 dark horses. I said that I was.
Well, you said Metroid's one of yours, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, that's
So,
that's true.
my final dark horse on this one is a bit of a stretch, but I'm going Dance Dance Revolution.
This is also my other dark horse. So
Hey!
okay, perfect transition.
We're not as much disagreement as we thought.
Yes.
I think DDR belongs in for a number of reasons. It's not necessarily my bag, but
I am terrible at
Yes,
it.
that's
I've tried
why.
to play it once, and it was an absolute embarrassment, and I will never do it
I
again.
I am willing to try again, and I hope somebody films it because you're going to watch
But
it.
I
and
like I
enjoy it.
was not. I could not do anything.
Yeah.
Like I was so bad at it. It wasn't even fun for me or anyone watching. I can guarantee you that.
But I think DDR belongs in for a number of reasons. It's a very different experience, and basically that plus Guitar Hero really spawned an entire like genre, which is rhythm gaming. Yes, there were ones before, but it didn't become what it became except for those. And you could call this dance/rhythm gaming, whatever. More importantly, DDR in a sense saved arcades.
Yay!
And what arcades we have in the States, we have because of games like DDR and things that are experiences that, yes, you can get home versions and dance mats for DDR, but it's not the same. And there's so many different ways to play DDR. Now games inspired by
Yeah,
different
any of the
by-
dancing games. Like
yeah.
when we went to Magfest this year.
Oh, yes.
And you stand there and watch some people who have like coordinated. Like I saw these 2 guys like dancing around each other.
Yep.
They had operas. It's really amazing to watch. Like I will stand there and
Yeah.
watch people just play that game.
And it definitely it pulls in both segments of gamers. There are hardcore gamers who still love DDR. There are gamers who are just into different types of gaming who DDR pulls them in anyway. And people, like she said, get so into DDR. I watched one girl at MagFest like Saturday morning. This was her workout, and I
have seen a video about a girl who
Yeah.
lost a ton of weight playing DDR. Like that's how she did it.
This girl wasn't messing around. I was watching just for a second because the skill I witnessed. She was playing both pads of a 2-player game by herself,
Yeah.
first of all. And I'm just watching her like, my God, you go. Because I hope that I am
You're doing
this
something
good.
I could never do.
I hope I'm this good at something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. I have to be somewhere, but I hope I'm that good at something somewhere on this earth. But now, of course, Japanese arcades never really died. They never went away. In the U.S., they largely have, partially because of the decline in mall culture. We won't get into a bigger argument about that, but DDR has kept it alive, and in some cases, it gets bigger. And it helps, having that at conventions. It's a draw. I think it's going to get in at some point. I think it absolutely deserves it.
Yeah, when I was looking at the nominees this year, like, that one kind of shocked me, but then it's like, that
As
makes
soon as you thought about it.
that makes total
Yeah.
sense. And yes, it absolutely deserves to be in.
Yeah. So I think
that's my second dark horse as well.
and
so
that's
we agree on this.
yeah, that's one of my dark horses. So my main 4, here's my order: Metroid, Final Fantasy VII, Tomb Raider, Madden. Those 4 in any order. My 2 dark horses being DDR and Minecraft. Your summation?
So my 4 mains are in order: Tomb Raider, John Madden Football, Minecraft, Final Fantasy VII, and then my dark horses. I don't really have an order on that.
Yeah. Well, like my 4 aren't really in order, like I said, but yeah. So your dark horses are DDR.
Metroid and Dance Dance Revolution.
Cool. So we ended our last video with sort of a call to action, and we're going to do that this time around.
Well,
because,
first, before we do that, I also want to talk about one of the nominees this year. because it's floating around. If I had a 7th place,
Oh, yeah, I forgot
it
about
would
this,
be
yes.
floating around.
Yes.
It's called Space War,
Yeah.
which we mentioned it earlier in the video.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this until I saw it on the nominee list. I didn't even do research immediately because I assumed that it was just an arcade game. I don't know what I was thinking of, but it's actually like it's a computer that was built in, I think, 1962 they said it was. So it was just this one computer that played this game at this, I think it was a university or something. And they built this to just play this space game, and I like looking at it, it's really interesting to me, and I think if the Strong Museum is going for a more educational thing, which I think they are in their gaming museum, I feel like that actually deserves a place because that's a really interesting piece of history, piece of gaming history.
It does, and it's also one of those things where
I was torn all day because I was actually thinking about putting it on my top 6.
It's kind of one of the underpinnings of gaming as a whole too, but it's forgotten.
I would not be shocked if it gets in this year. That's why I say it's floating around my number 7. I almost put it in my top 6, but
and we don't know for certain.
This is such a tough class to
like.
This is a really tough class this year. It's really hard to.
It is, and we don't.
pinpoint what
There's
we
no
think's
set
getting in.
amount that get in every year. Like literally all
Last
7
year
of the ones
they
we mentioned
inducted
could.
4. Last year they
Yeah.
inducted 4, so
Well, that's what we're going off of. So, but I mentioned earlier the call to action, and you as the public get to nominate the games that they pull from. The nominations are essentially done by the public. We suggested a couple last time, and we're going to suggest a couple this time.
Well, here's the interesting factoid. In 2016, our video, we suggested I'm wearing the shirt of it. We suggested that everyone go and nominate Resident Evil because we were like, it's finally time for Survival Horror to be represented in this museum. And one we added last minute, I had actually thought of it while we were vlogging Mortal Kombat. Turns out that last year, Resident Evil and Mortal Kombat were both nominated for it. They didn't make it in, and they're not on the nominee list this year.
So maybe it's us. I don't know.
What we're pushing again is Resident Evil.
Yeah,
We really think
and-
that deserves to be in.
And a new one this year as well we talked about. Resident Evil, survival horror needs to be in there, and Resident Evil is absolutely the father of survival horror. The grandfather being, Alone in the Dark, and the great-grandmother being Sweet Home. But absolutely Resident Evil. That's what really brought it all home and started really making it accessible. Because again, it was a
Horror
console
games
game.
as we know them.
Yeah, exist because
pretty
of,
much.
yeah.
Alone in the Dark. But
Exactly. But I
you
mean,
know.
when you look at the mainstream hit,
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
I started on Alone in the Dark,
yeah.
and I still agree that Resident Evil deserves to be in there. So,
I think.
and I'm a Silent Hill fan as well. So.
Yeah, as am I. I mean, survival horror, if you hadn't figured out by watching the channel, is kind of our thing.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite genre. So.
So, the other one we talked about, Mortal Kombat's going to get in eventually, but we decided instead of suggesting nominating Mortal Kombat next
Which when
year,
I thought of it, Andy and I had this moment.
we didn't even
like,
realize it wasn't even in there
what?
yet.
Well, I think we mentioned, or
Yeah.
I mentioned that it's because it's so iconic that you don't even really think about it.
It's just automatic, and that's Mega Man. Specifically,
Mega Man.
the game I would suggest nominating is Mega Man 2.
Which
I
is
feel
the best one.
that's where Mega
by
Man
far.
really came into its own. The first Mega Man people played, but it was not quite there yet. Mega Man 2, I mean, everybody has their way they go for
It's
the bosses.
just an amazing game. It's just an amazing game.
And it became Mega Man and Mega Man 2. So we'll re-up this when it comes time to nominate games later on next year or whatever. But for now, if you're looking ahead, be prepared. This is your homework.
I already sent my nomination for Resident Evil in.
Can you send nominations now?
Yeah, they've already opened.
Nominate them
they've
now.
Already,
Screw
they've
whatever
already
I just
opened
said.
Nominations for next
Nominate
year.
for next year starting now. Shit, I thought we had to wait. No, call to action. Do it now.
That's how I knew they had already settled
Okay.
on the nominees when I saw it switch
Okay.
over to the 2019 class. On
So
the
go ahead and
nomination
start
page, so-
nominating at the Strong Museum. We should have had the website ready. We don't. Maybe we'll put it down in the document text. We'll just put it
Oh
down
yeah,
there.
okay,
With
yeah,
the
because I'm actually on
something.
Wikipedia right now.
Yeah,
Not the
so-
website.
Resident Evil and Mega Man 2. Those are the two.
Which we should mention, like Mario's already in there, Pac-Man's already in there,
Sonic's in there.
Sonic's in there.
Yeah.
Mega Man
Mega
absolutely
Man
deserves
needs
to be in there.
To be in there.
And if it gets on the nominee list next year, it's getting in.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I'm
It's a
concerned,
shoo-in.
I already put that on my definite
Yeah,
list.
but for that reason, Mega Man 2, I think, is the game for everything
Yeah.
we've said. So, this video is being recorded and hopefully uploaded on April 29th, just a few days before the actual announcements, which I believe are on Wednesday, May 2nd.
No, the announcements are on Thursday, May 3rd.
Thursday, May 3rd. Okay, so it was a day off. So, hey, we'll see how we did. Hopefully.
I'm expecting to suck completely. I watched none of my 6 get in. That's what's going to happen. This year was last time we did this, it was really easy to choose. This year has been really tough.
I feel like if anything off my list is not going to make it, it's going to be Madden. But at the same time, I think it's.
I also agree. That's the one I'm shaky on, and I think it so deserves to be in there.
But I do. I think it deserves to be in there, so that's why I'm giving it my vote. Once again, going back to what I said, Half-Life. It's not Half-Life that needs to be in there. It's Half-Life 2 that needs to be in there, and it's not the first Call of Duty. Nobody has played the first Call of Duty. People did obviously.
Also, I saved my ass.
Call of Duty 4 is the one. I
saved my ass by taking Miss Pac-Man off because I was originally going to put that on. Then I realized that Pac-Man's already in there.
Yeah, so one Pac-Man game's already.
Asteroids is another one. I wouldn't be shocked if it gets in this year.
I wouldn't
either.
Because
I feel like they might want to put an arcade game in there, and Asteroids might make it.
And they can always surprise us and put in a much bigger class. Yeah. I mean, that's always. I think they've left themselves that wiggle room.
We just wasted our time.
Never know. So anyway, that is, or rather, those are our predictions for the 2018 Strong Museum World Video Game Hall of Fame class of 2018.
We have a pinned tweet on our Twitter account, which no one looks at ever. But if we asked your opinion, so if you want to go reply, to that,
let us know
which 4 you think are going to get in, what your 2 dark horses are, or whatever.
Yeah, reply in the comments. Let us know, and so more to come. Right now, as you watch this, we're playing through A Way Out co-op together on PS4. And we're also putting up our playthrough of Candy Please, which we did last Halloween and just now got around to putting up because we're super timely. super timely. So yeah, I think that's going to about do it for us. Let us know what games you'd like to see, what things you'd like us to talk about in our vlogs. We'll let you know more about what we're doing and some of the new things, and maybe new faces.
Lots of exciting stuff.
You'll be seeing on the channel. So that's going to do it. Blah, 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 drink beer. Hi, how are you? Yes, that's staying in. That's going to about do it for us. Till next time, see you, Space Cowboys.